All right, happy new year. Welcome to a new year. Hope you guys are doing so well. I figured I'd just jump right into it, do a fun looking back at 2024 reflections video and tell you a little update on what's coming for 2025. So I assume that if you clicked on this video, it's because you already know who I am and you follow my journey and everything, and you know who I am. So I'm Annie. I'm a professional artist and I work from home. I'm a mom and a wife, and this is my art studio. It's a spare bedroom of our home, and this is where I run my art business. So 2024, I started a YouTube channel and then totally ghosted you guys. So for starters, I'll tell you what I've been up to the last, well, what has it been, like 4 or 5 months. So if you've been wondering what I've been up to the last several months, not much, but I did get to the point where I had to put YouTube on the back burner and focus on my art business. I am not a content creator. I do run an art business, so that did take precedence in that second half of the year there. I thought I could manage both, but it became too much. I went to France in June and I posted videos about that, so if you follow along, you know that. I went to France in June to teach a week-long painting workshop, and that was the coolest experience of my life, but it was also really exhausting. After I came back from that, I immediately got our carpets replaced up here, upstairs in my house. So we got our carpets replaced, so we had to move everything. It felt like we weren't moving houses, but like we had to move all of our furniture downstairs and in our garage. I had just come back from France and I was still jet lagged, and we had to do all that, and then I had to empty out my whole studio and everything, and we were all like hanging out in our living room for a couple weeks while we like got our life back together. And then summer, summer with the kids home, so fun. And I don't usually go super hard with my business when the girls are home because it's summer and summer's for fun. Then once the girls got back to school, my husband actually, and I was like going back into business and was like ready to get my ducks in a row and like get back to it. My husband actually had a pretty bad injury. This was the second concussion he's gotten in a couple years. So the recovery was really hard on him. We're so thankful because it could have been a lot worse. He got bonked in the head with a medicine ball from like, I don't know, it was like 15, 20 feet in the air. It was a freak accident. He got bonked in the head really hard and then got bonked again when he fell down. So he had a really bad concussion and was kind of down for the count for a while. So I did what I needed to do in my business and put everything else to the side. So basically any extra projects I was working on, I put them aside because I had to be there for my husband. So then it was the holiday season, and I used the holiday season to work in my business, and I do a lot of holiday sales and everything. So that brings us to today, and now it's 2025 and I'm ready to get back into YouTube. I'm really excited. So I think I said it already, have notes here, and that's where I'll be looking if I'm not looking at the camera. Looking at the camera is such a weird thing. It's very hard to do. I don't know why. That's where I've been. That's what I've been up to. Like I said, nothing earth-shattering. Thank you for still being here. Thank you for following along. I know a few of you, I've gotten messages saying, I miss you on YouTube, miss you on YouTube. I miss YouTube too. That was really fun last year. That was like one of my favorite parts of last year as I was reflecting on how the year went. YouTube was so fun. It brought me back so much joy. I had gone through some serious burnout in between 2021, 2023, like so burnt out. I felt like a shell of a person. YouTube was the first thing, like that project and learning it all, like the ins and outs, was the first thing that like brought life back into me again. And so I was really like disappointed in myself for letting it go, but like bummed, like I was a little bummed that it didn't work out. So that's what I've been up to. And now I thought it'd be really cool to I was reflecting on 2024, so I thought it would be really fun to kind of just talk to the camera. This is a really casual video. I have notes, like I said, just so I don't get off track, but I thought it'd be really fun to share with you guys how my 2024 went, because it was a different year for me. It was a different kind of year in my business. So I've been reflecting a lot on 2024 and what it meant to me and what I accomplished. We'll start with my big wins in 2024 as a professional artist. This is year 10 in my business. I'm in year 11 now, I think. I don't know, I lose track. So the big wins in 2024 were the biggest. I would say I went to France to teach art, which was huge. Like that was, I would say, my biggest accomplishment in 2024, being invited to do that. I went with Wandering Women Retreat. So it was a group of, I think it was 16 of us. It was 16 American women. I wasn't teaching to French. I was teaching to American women. They were from all across the United States, and I got to teach 3 workshops. It was a week-long retreat, but I was teaching 3 of those days, and the rest of the days I got to be a participant in the retreat, and it was really cool. Definitely the opportunity of a lifetime. It was so cool. I would love to do it again. Who knows, maybe in the future. So that was my biggest thing in 2024. My second biggest win was, this was really cool. This happened at the end of the year. I sold an entire collection of paintings to Joanna Gaines, which was so cool. If you follow me on Instagram, you totally saw me like rambling about the whole thing. It was I did actually, no, I don't have them here with me. I did another collection of mini paintings. I'll get them. I brought some papers home with me from a French paper mill for my trip this summer. And I did a bunch of mini paintings. Let's see if that'll focus. I did a bunch of mini paintings like that on the paper from the paper mill. And it was so cool. That was one of my favorite parts of the trip, was going to that paper mill. So I did 11 paintings in the first collection, and then I did 6 more that I put on my website and sold out of. So I guess Joanna Gaines saw one of my Instagram reels and then asked if they were available, and she purchased the entire collection. So I got to ship an entire collection of my artwork to Joanna Gaines, which is so cool because she is someone who has been such an inspiration. So anyway, that was a huge accomplishment. I also had another celebrity purchase too. I didn't like converse with them or anything. They just purchased off of my website. So I don't know if I want to say that name, but I did get 2 purchases from celebrities last year, which was not on my bucket list, but how cool is that? It's so cool. Yes, that was huge. That was such a huge accomplishment. That was really, really fun. The third thing on here, YouTube. Starting YouTube was such a huge accomplishment. It was such a learning curve though, I will be honest. That was another thing. I would have been able to keep going with YouTube in the midst of all that was happening in my life had I not realized what a learning curve it was gonna be. I recorded probably like 20 videos worth in the months leading up to the launch and then in the beginning of launching my YouTube channel. But between technical difficulties, losing files on my computer, audio not working, like audio glitching out and everything, and then just issues I was having with my computer and like this, that, and the other thing, I ended up having to re-record so much. Oh, and then issues with my camera too, and the lens, and I had to re-record so much. I lost like 90% of the files on my computer because I'm really bad about file organization. It got too overloaded and then like crashed and all my files went away. But that's on me. That was my own stupid fault. So anyway, started YouTube. I got monetized on YouTube in a month, which is insane. I'm so proud of myself though. I did work really, really, really hard on the launch of my YouTube channel. So I don't, I feel like a little bit of luck is involved in those types of things. I did have a couple videos do really, really well and continue to do really well. But other than that, I worked really hard and was so intentional about the videos I put out. And the way I advertised and marketed my YouTube channel, I put my all into it and worked so hard to make it so good. And I would have been able to keep going had the technical issues not happened. Even this morning I had technical issues. I'm starting this, I'm like, it took me an hour to get going because of the technical issues. I'm like, oh, why does it have to be like this? But it's okay, it's okay. It's all worth it in the end. But starting YouTube is something I wanted to do for a really long time and for years, and I finally did it, and I'm super, super glad about that. It's very worth it. I posted on Instagram this morning and I said, I'm like, if anyone is thinking about starting a YouTube channel, do it. It's so fun over here. I love it. Especially, you know, so much has changed with the social media landscape. It's changed so much. Instagram is not what it was. TikTok almost went away. I don't think it's going to go away, but there was so much uncertainty with that. And I just think there's so much value in being able to have long form content, you know? I feel like it's just so much more personal, and it's a cooler way to connect with the people who follow my journey. So I love YouTube, and I'm so glad that it had such a good like kickoff. It's so cool. So YouTube, this is my next win here. My fourth big win for 2024 was I had lots of new licensing collections. I can't remember, I think I had three licensing collections come out with Permanence by Kathy, and then maybe, I don't remember. With Permanence by Kathy, it's been such a long-standing relationship, and I have collections come out every year, so it's hard to remember what's new and what product. There's always new extensions to the current collections, but I had a couple new collections with Permanence by Kathy, some really beautiful ones, so that was fun. And then with my art agent, I also had some new opportunities for new products come out that I'm super proud of. Like new journals, water bottles, like fun with my agent. A lot of more one-off products, not full collections. Oh, I did have my first full fabric collection come out with Camelot fabric, so that was really, really cool. A new full, I've never had an entire fabric collection come out. I've had my work on children's clothing and like home textiles and stuff like that, but I've never had a full fabric collection with, yeah, so it's super cool. I've had a couple planners, stationery, things like that. So like smaller items. So lots of good things happened. 2024 was a year for me where I did not pursue a ton of growth in my business. It was more so doing what I needed to do in order to maintain my income. So this income does very much provide for our family. I didn't pursue like any outrageous growth or anything. Not outrageous, that was a weird choice of word, but I've always pursued to grow my business year after year. But this was a year I needed to recover from burnout and chill for a little bit and just kind of maintain what I had built. And with that, my income did go down. The last couple years we paid off really huge debts and bills and everything, so it was okay. It kind of evened out a little bit. But with inflation, like, it was a pain in the butt. But anyway, that's okay. So yeah, those are the big wins for 2024. It's a good year. I'm really proud of myself. I feel like even despite like everything that happened, and even in having to be in maintenance mode of my business, like I still have some really cool wins. So like the France trip, Joanna Gaines opportunity, the new licensing collections. I still sold lots of artwork online. Not as much in years past, but it just wasn't a focus for me last year. And then the launch of a YouTube channel. I call that a good year. That was pretty good. So yeah, anyway, moving on to goals for 2025. I didn't make goals last year, so I think it'll be fun to be able to look back on this year again, or at the end of the year to be able to look back and like see if I actually made goals. I always set goals, but I didn't last year because I needed to step back, and I did, and I guess that was my goal. But anyway, goals for 2025. Yeah, I think one of my biggest goals for 2025 is to have a bit greater focus on artwork and being creative. So I have to backtrack a little bit. I started my business 10 years ago. I was pregnant with my daughter, so I pretty much only know business alongside motherhood. So I've always been very intentional with my time, because I grew my business during their nap time. And even now, like, I don't, you know, they're both in school, but I only have a set amount of time. Like this morning we had a 2-hour delay. So, you know, by the time I get here and I get everything going, it's, what time is it now? It's noon already, and so they come home in a couple hours. So my time is still very, very limited. And so I've always been so intentional with it, and I don't like wasting time. And so with that, I have always been very intentional with art that I make. I don't play around with a lot of art. I tend to stick to what I know and what's in my head and what I know will be good. And like, I don't play a whole lot because I don't like messing up. I don't like being imperfect, which is not a great way to be, but I am that way for a reason, and it's because my time's so limited. So the first 10 years of or I guess 8 or 9 years of my business, I created an enormous amount of artwork, and I have so much of it. And for the sake of like being intentional and with my art and making the most of it, I spent the last 2 years recycling that artwork, making patterns out of it, recoloring it, redoing it. And so with that, I created some really beautiful work, but I'd say most of it ended up being like, I should have been spending that time creating new work, but I got so caught up in like the mindset of like, I have to be intentional with my time. If I don't use this art, it's not gonna be worth my time. I would have wasted so much time. So I spent a lot of the last couple of years recycling a lot of old art for the sake of making sure that art gets used. And long story short, the biggest lesson that I've learned is that not all art has to get used. Not all art will ever get used, and it's okay. You have to be okay with that, because that's just the nature. It's like the unique nature of our job and our work. And this is a random side note, but it's a big reason why you shouldn't charge per hour on your work. And it's so hard to charge per hour because, like, for me, I work a lot in licensing, and I also sell a lot of art in collections and things like that. But like, if I were to charge per hour, like, what about all the hours that I work on art that will never get sold or never sees the light of day or even stays on my computer, you know? Like, that's a kind of a big regret that I have, is the amount of time that I spent feeling like I had to make sure that all of my art was getting used. So moving forward to 2025, it is one of my biggest priorities, if not my biggest priority, to really just be creative again and start creating new, beautiful, lovely artwork, like straight from my soul. Other random side notes with my goals for 2025 would be, I really want to clean up my portfolio, and that's kind of bouncing off of what I was saying. Like, I spend so much time recreating old artwork, recycling's so good, but there is a time when you got to be like, you know what? This little piece of plastic is gonna have to go into, no, I'm kidding. Recycling is always good, but there is a time when recycling old artwork really needs to stop, and now's the time. So I really want to clean up my portfolio, like clean it up and have it represent who I am as an artist right now. And I feel like right now my portfolio doesn't really do a good job at that. So cleaning up my portfolio this year is a huge part of a huge goal. Not huge, but a goal. And then also rebranding is another goal of mine, but have to raise the funds to do that first. I know that the designer that I would love to do my rebrand, and I know the cost that comes with that, and it's a lot, but I want to do it when I want to do it right. So I'm so okay with waiting, but that is a goal for this year. I do want to do that this year, because I want my portfolio, I want my brand, I want my website to represent who I am today as an artist, and I feel like right now it currently doesn't do that. So this year, I do think it'll be a good year for growth. I think overall, I want to just be an artist. I think that's what I want to do this year. I want to be an artist, and I want all of my art to reflect who I am. That's what I've been up to. That is how last year went. And these are the things that I hope for 2025. And I think it's going to be a really good year. I do. I feel good about it. I feel like it's going to be good. I'm hopeful. I think one of the biggest things This is one last little side note. One of my biggest accomplishments of last year that I've kind of been thinking about the last couple weeks. 2024 was the year that I detached from my work. Something that you may not know about me, I got pregnant at 21, got married at 21. We were broke and poor. And I just was kind of thrown into the world as an adult with like being very naive. I've always used my work as kind of like a coping mechanism for when things were hard in life. And when things are hard in life, I double down with work. And you know, some people eat food, some people do drugs, some people drink. I kind of double down with work in a very unhealthy way. I didn't realize like how unhealthy my relationship was with my work until it was too late. And I was so burned out, but like if a big bill were to pop up, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have to double down with work. If things got hard in life, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have to double down with work. Work. It's so unhealthy. But like, you know, it's hard because it's like, well, I have to work because I have to pay the bills, or like I have to work because I have this deadline, or I have to work because this, I have to. And 2024 was a year where I had been burnt out for like 2 years. And recently I actually told my husband last night, like, I think I have finally reached the other side of burnout, like really and truly. And I mean that like with my heart and soul. And it feels so cool to say that because I didn't know if it was possible. Yeah, life is still stressful. There's still stressors and everything, but my husband and I have been able, like, we've come so far together as like a team and as husband and wife and as like best friends and just partners in life. And he's healed like in such big ways, and we've come together, and he's like my #1 fan, supporter, friend. Yeah. So 2024 is really healing in that aspect too. I was able to detach from work, not use it as a coping mechanism anymore, and kind of have a better outlook towards work. I'm not like in survival mode when I am working. It is my job now. Like, it's my work. Like I work, I get the job done. I work normal hours. Sometimes I'm working on a project and I do work more, but for the most part I work normal hours. I'm not stressed out of my brain anymore. There is a certain amount of like brain noise that comes with entrepreneurship that is really hard to turn off, but it's manageable. And there is a certain amount of brain noise that comes when your work is inside your home, and that's never really gonna go away. And that's okay, because this is my life right now, and that's okay. So anyway, I started the year off reading, let me see if I have the book. It was a really good book, and I was reading this book when I realized, like, you know what? I am in a spot where I'm out of the pits of burnout, and this book was so good. And I don't know, it just gave me a really interesting outlook on work in general and work culture in our country, because it's so toxic. I love capitalism. I think capitalism I am so for it. I am, obviously, because of what I do. Like, I feel like in a non-capitalist country, like I couldn't do what I do, but with capitalism comes this idea that we have to hustle and work hard, and that's the only way. But balance is possible, and I've gotten so much closer to that balance where I'm working, like making a living wage while also doing what I love, being good at what I do, and working for myself. So anyway, the book is so good. It's one of these. I have it. It's called Do Nothing. I saw it was recommended on TikTok. I'll link it below for you guys if you want to see. This was the best way to start off my year. I just finished it a couple weeks ago, or like last week. It's so good. I talked about it on Instagram, and I just think if you're looking for a good way to start your year, it's the perfect way to start. It's called Do Nothing. It just talks about the history of work in our country, where the mindset around it came from, like how it stems from the Industrial Revolution, how, you know, yes, we need to work to pay bills and everything, but your work should, or your self-worth should not come from the work that you do. Like, it is not a human essential to thrive. The book says it so much better. I'm not good with my words. It was just so good. The book was so good. I loved it. So it says, do nothing, how to break away from overworking, overdoing, and underliving. It's a great way to start your year. And it's not anti-work, because I'm not anti-work. I think work is so important. I think a lot of our purpose does come from it. However, there's a difference between overworking and finding joy in what you do, because, you know, life takes money and gotta bring in the money so we can pay the bills. So work is important. I think work is a huge part of human nature. But yeah, 2024, I feel like I finally recovered from burnout, and I'm so happy to say that. I'm in a much better spot now. So anyway, I feel like I've been talking to the camera for an hour now, so I'm gonna have so much to edit down. Oops. I guess I'll close this off with my plans for the channel this year. I think I would like to just do a continuation of what I did last year, so that's what you can expect from me. I just hope to do like more studio vlogs, some tutorials. I really want to double down more on like teaching you guys how to paint, and just encouraging creativity and living a creative life, and then also sharing what I've done in my business, growing my business and building a business from home, and sharing with you guys what it's looked like for me, so that I can encourage you to do the same, because it's been such a blessing for my family having this business and me being able to work from home. Like this morning, the girl's having a 2-hour delay. I was able to just be like, okay, we'll go into school a couple hours late, no big deal. So the flexibility that my life offers right now is so good, and I love it. I'm so thankful. So yeah, that is what's coming to the channel this year. More tutorials. I'm going to talk to you about painting, how to get better, hone your skills as an artist, how to hone your skills as a businesswoman, all those kinds of things. I started a YouTube channel, and sharing my journey has been very therapeutic for me. So I hope it's as enjoyable to you as it has been for me, because it really has been so fun. So that's what you can expect from me this year. So anyway, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. But this is a video for my people who have followed for a while, and I feel like you might already be subscribed, but if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'll leave the link to this book below. That's super good. That's a great way to start your year. But yeah, that's my year. Those are my reflections, my goals, my plans. So anyway, until next time, I'll see you in a bit.